Good afternoon, I'm Rob Boskamp, and you're listening to South Texas Midday. Happy Friday, it's October 17th. The Old Harbor Bridge's center span will be lowered soon. KEEI News reports that while TxDOT hasn't released a firm timeline on when that will happen, it will briefly shut down ship traffic through the port of Corpus Christi. TxDOT and Harbor Bridge crews will have roughly 36 hours to lower the old bridge's nearly 6 million pound center span onto a barge below, requiring a full closure of the ship channel. The center span of the old bridge will be taken to Ingleside, where parts will be recycled. Once the old bridge is gone, it will allow bigger ships to pass through the channel. A new Senate bill signed into law back in May could implicate violations in Seadrift's 2025-26 fiscal year budget. Under SB 1851, cities in Texas now must have an annual audit as well as a financial statement prepared based on the audit. Cities have up to 180 days to complete an audit of their prior fiscal year, or they will not be allowed to adopt a tax rate over the no new revenue rate. That said, Seadrift city officials confirmed to 25 News Now that a local accounting firm was still in process of auditing the 2023-24 fiscal year as of last week. Seadrift accepted a proposal for the 2025-26 budget, which became effective this month. That features a new property tax rate of about 70 cents per $100 valuation, an increase from the 2024-25 tax rate. According to TxDOT, October is the deadliest month for pedestrians in Texas. You may have noticed walking billboards on South and downtown Corpus Christi. Texas Department of Transportation had several on multiple intersections. For Corpus Christi and surrounding counties, there were 140 traffic crashes involving pedestrians. 17 of those were fatalities and 32 with serious injuries in 2023. Last year, there were 20 pedestrian fatalities, 24 serious injuries, and over 130 total crashes. Corpus Christi totaled on average 90 accidents in 2023 to 2024. The City of Brownsville's West Rail Trail is featured in a new PBS documentary titled From Rails to Trails. The film shares the history of the railroad and what communities like Brownsville have done with rail lines no longer used today. Here's former Brownsville City Commissioner Dr. Gowen discussing the history of the West Trail.
There were originally two large rail lines that came into the city of Brownsville, one on the west side and one on the east side. The one on the east side became the Battlefield Trail by virtue of a mediation that TxDOT had to comply with the city of Brownsville at the time. The west side remained a rail line until the county moved the rail line out of town, leaving an empty corridor there on the west side. And that rail line had divided the west part of Brownsville neighborhoods for probably 100 years, if not a little bit longer. So the people were very excited to be able to knit their neighborhoods back together and not be trapped by the train coming through. The county wanted to build a toll road along that corridor, and the community got very upset and started speaking out about it and literally rolled a wheelbarrow into the city commission chambers with 5,000 signatures in the wheelbarrow. I was in the audience for another reason and saw this, and I thought, wow, this is wild that somebody brought a wheelbarrow into the city commission chamber. And I had never seen the public talk to their elected officials in that dramatic way, but yet very respectfully. And so the movement began from the people. It was very much a grassroots movement to fight against that corridor becoming a tollway. They named themselves the Friends of the West Rail Trail. They stood outside of churches. They went to schools. They went to community gatherings, collecting more and more signatures, and they became the voice of not just West Brownsville, but people from other parts of the city that wanted to protect these neighborhoods. When I did become elected, I took that mission under my wing and continued to speak out about it. 10 years went by, conversations ensued, many town halls, community input, conversations with the county, between the city and the county, and we were able to agree on a compromise after 10 years to have the largest portion of the corridor be trail only and a 2-mile section be trail alongside a road. So that was a battle worth fighting for. Alongside all of this, public health research continued telling us that 1 in 3 of our people are diabetic, and that is because of a very high level of obesity and overweightness. And so eating healthy and getting off your couch and being active, having spaces that are accessible to become active, were very important to the future of the community. It's a beautiful story of a grassroots movement to speak for your neighborhoods and make your neighborhood and your whole city more vibrant and more healthy.
You've been listening to former Brownsville City Commissioner Dr. Gowen discussing the history of the West Trail. Tonight, the City of Brownsville will host a showing at the Mitte at Linear Park starting at 7:30 p.m. and will feature Dr. Gowen and the film's creators Dan Protess and Peter Harnick. If you are not in Brownsville but would like to hear more about the community's fight to turn the old railroad into a trail, you can watch From Rails to Trails right now on pbs.org and the PBS app. We also have an interview with director and producer Dan Protess available in our KEDT Community Focus podcast series. You can listen to that episode wherever you get your podcasts. Monday is the last day the public can submit online comments regarding the Federal Aviation Administration's draft tiered environmental assessment. That's for updates to airspace closures for additional launch trajectories and landings of Starship and Super Heavy operating from Boca Chica Starbase. Starship test flights will soon transition from suborbital to faster and longer orbital flights. The Brownsville Herald reports that a virtual public meeting had been scheduled, then canceled due to the federal shutdown. To read the entire tiered EA and submit online comments, visit regulations.gov and enter docket number FAA-2025-3124 in the search box. Last week, Edinburgh city officials broke ground on a downtown parking garage near the courthouse. Construction is slated to begin early next month on the corner of McIntyre Street and North Closner Boulevard. It's expected to open in early 2027. The garage will be 3 stories tall with over 260 parking spaces with free public parking. Edinburgh's Director of Engineering, Martakeo Hinojosa, told myrgv.com that the county plans to add an additional 104 parking spaces at the corner of North 12th Avenue and East Loeb Street by late December. In state news, Governor Abbott is sending National Guard troops to Austin ahead of the No King's Day protest. As the Texas Newsroom's Lucio Vasquez reports, the demonstration is one of several taking place across the state.
Governor Abbott says the Austin protest is a, quote, Antifa-linked demonstration. The governor says National Guard troops and DPS troopers will be stationed at the Capitol building to protect Texans and nearby property. His office did not confirm whether National Guard will be sent to other cities across the state. Nearly 100 No King's Day protests are set to take place across the state over the weekend, with several thousand more planned throughout the U.S. Organizers say the effort is meant to push back against what they describe as authoritarian ambitions linked to President Donald Trump. Previous protests have been largely peaceful. I'm Lucio Vasquez in Houston.
A lot happening this weekend, including the Texas Jazz Festival that will be at Heritage Park in downtown Corpus Christi beginning today through Sunday. Also happening on Sunday will be a violence awareness run and walk event at 8 a.m. at 5017 Saratoga in Suite 101. The free event will have 5K run and 1K walk options available. No sign-up is required. And KEDT celebrates its anniversary this week. In honor of our 53rd, we take a look back at some recent stories that were broadcast on our local news. Today, Lon Gonzalez takes us out to the beach and to the year 2019 as oil-sniffing dogs patrol local shores.
If you've ever been to the beach and stepped on a tar ball, you know it can be a messy experience. Now imagine no tar balls on the beach thanks to an oil-sniffing dog. Sounds far-fetched, but it's true. Texas A&M Corpus Christi Center for Coastal Studies has started a new program that involves training dogs to sniff out things like tar balls and oil spills, something that would certainly be of great benefit to Texas beaches.
I had a conversation 2 years ago with the head of Texas General Land Office Spill Response, and we were talking about oil detection canines, which is a program that I've been running for several years now. I discussed it with him, and I believed that I could train a dog, or the team could train a dog, to actually tell you the difference between fresh spill or fresher spilled oil and oil that already exists on beaches in the form of tar balls.
That's Paul Bunker, who's training 2 dogs to find distinct oil occurrences on beaches and how the program came to be. He adds that eventually the Texas General Land Office fronted some funding that led to the dogs undergoing top-level training at Texas Tech University. In the long run, the program's success could lead to further expansion.
Yeah, actually, I'm training another one of my dogs starting next month, and we're looking for another handler to volunteer to become a citizen scientist, both on the project and for in case there is any future oil spills, which obviously we hope there isn't, but it gives, again, another capability to the state of Texas.
Bunker says the overall benefit would be to have the program expand to other coastal regions as a preemptive scan by dogs on beaches everywhere. I'm Lon Gonzalez for KEDT News.
In sports, the Corpus Christi Sharks pre-professional soccer club introduced its head coach for the upcoming inaugural season. Ayman Zayed is an Ireland native who's played professionally across the U.S., Europe, and Africa.
Win, lose, or draw, there's characteristics that I look for in my team.
That was Zayed speaking with KRIS 6 News. The Sharks prepare for their first professional season with tryouts beginning next month and are looking for talent across the region. Continuing on with sports, this weekend, the Corpus Christi Ice Rays face the El Paso Rhinos at the Hilliard Center tomorrow at 7:05 p.m. The Ice Rays are currently in 7th place in the NAHL South Division, just ahead of the Rhinos. Texas A&M Kingsville Javelinas football is in Washington this weekend. They take on Central Washington University in Lone Star Conference action tomorrow night, and UT-RGV football is in Beaumont. They face Lamar University tomorrow at 3 p.m. The Vaqueros are 1-1 in Southland Conference play. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.